The Jim and Terry Show, still with a heavy cadence to our step. Always looking up for fear of something falling out of the sky, if not an Elon Musk satellite or starship. Something else, maybe an iron dome, maybe a golden dome, maybe an asteroid?
Golden shower? No.
Maybe something. We're talking about some of the political changes that are going on in Canada, around the world. And we talked about, Canada's, Mark Carney introduced Bill C-5, which was to get things moving in Canada, to build Canada. Wasn't that a Biden bill, Build Back Better? Or was that something else?
That was probably Biden, yeah.
Okay, well, it sounds like we're doing the same thing. And Carney, in his speech introducing the bill, referred to the great projects that Canada has done. And I remember the St. Lawrence Seaway. And I remember the Trans-Canada Highway. And I remember our good friend Michael, if you're listening, never had electricity until he was reaching his teens.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So there you go. So look at all the good things Canada has been doing. Hydro projects. Quebec is especially, blessed with rivers that they can. Hydroelectricity in Quebec is available for some of these big things like AI that takes a lot of power to run these AI farms.
Yeah, and that's wonderful. And Canada's going to have to find its place even faster. I guess this is why Carney and even Ford want to fast track things.
Right. And you pointed out that Ford's bill is Bill 5 and Carney's is C5.
C5. It's funny that they're both the same.
And they're both intended to do the same thing, which is to get stuff moving in terms of development. Yeah. But Ford I'm a little skeptical of because he's already trampled on people's rights and the rights of Indigenous people in the province of Ontario.
He's got a meeting with them today. And people say that Ford, it's just his way of expression. So, again, I'm going to cut him some slack, see what he says with the Indigenous. I do agree with what he said is, you're sitting on a gold mine and you're always coming for money. We got a way to make you rich on these gold mines and you don't have to keep coming for money.
Yeah.
But they keep saying, don't touch our land, don't touch our land, don't touch our land. Well, he's saying, if you keep saying don't touch our land, don't come for us for money. And I agree with that, as harsh as that sounds.
I sort of hear what you're saying, but I'm also hearing the Turtle Island stuff that's going on in their thought processes of First Nations, which is they're the guardians, the keepers of the planet, which means you go in and dig, you blow stuff up, and you process stuff, and you dump the pollution in the waters, and our fish die.
Yeah, kind of a bit of a hypocrisy, and then you end up having houses built by stuff that dump stuff in the water. You take everything that everybody else in the nation's polluting with and use it. No, I'm sorry, you can't have it both ways. If there's clean ways of doing stuff, help, cooperate. Let's get this as a whole nation. You can still keep the lands. Get your money. It'll be money coming in because they're making killing. Like even in my area, you should see the development. All Native American, all Indigenous people. There's ways for them to prosper way beyond you and me. Chances beyond us. So now let's work together. Mm-hmm. I know the suffering. Don't get me wrong.
No, it's not.
And it is respect the treaties. But we got to work together if you're going to cover up the wealth of the land. Don't come for us for handouts.
We got to remember. I
shouldn't say us. I mean, don't come to the government for handouts.
Yeah, so it's a complicated issue.
It's very complicated.
Which is why we can't fast track some of this stuff. We got to talk reasonably. And I think Ford found himself in a, what do they call it, a mea culpa, my bad kind of thing, when he said, my First Nations, my Indigenous people. No, they're not yours. They're their own people.
Slip of a tongue.
Of a tongue. But as a politician, you got to watch those gaffes. All right, so both Bill 5 in Ontario and C5, you're more generous with Ford than I am because Ford has demonstrated his problems with respecting the rules and the guardrails on development. He has sold land to private developers, public lands to private developers. He's already done stuff to upset the apple cart. So why should we trust him on Bill 5? I would.
I don't think you should trust any politician.
No. So,
Perfect.
but we've got some demonstrated problems with Ontario and Ford. So that's my first caution. Bill C5 Canada, I don't know. We both looked at these, what do they call them? Energy corridors. And it doesn't have to be a pipeline necessary, but a corridor is a route. It may be a road. It may be putting in something, because a lot of these communities, when you're talking about Ontario and Manitoba, they're flying to get to these places.
Yeah, we have to find a way. We have to find a way to get the oil moving. We have to find a way to get the precious metals moving. We have to find a way, and it's going to mean cutting corridors. It's going to have to be making ways up to maybe Churchill to get it out over through James Bay, and not James Bay, from Hudson's Bay over to the Europe and out to the West Coast to get it to wherever we're going. Maybe other than just fighting about it, we should just find the safest possible way of checks and balances. In other words, should something happen to the pipeline, it can be stopped here, quick, electronically, other than somebody having to get in a truck, drive, the 50 miles, turn the valve. So really get into technology on how can monitor this, and then checks and balances all the way. And let's get the products moving, because we cannot depend on our brothers in the States, not because of the people are bad, but because the government's bad.
I'm reticent for the oil and gas, only in the sense that it is the fuel of the past. It is not the fuel of the future.
But Canada is investing in the fuel of the future.
Yes, we are. And that's the thing. Most of the investment that's coming into Canada is forward-looking and green.
There are some countries that are investing, bringing over what they were going to bring to the States, like turbines.
Yes.
Over to like New Brunswick, areas like that where there's
offshore
huge winds. I mean, so yeah, use it. Certain areas of Canada that get unbelievable amount of sunlight. Yeah, use it for solar. Let's do both. And if we need to eventually eliminate one, bang, it's good to have both, isn't it? And so let's prosper while that product is still going to get bought from somebody somewhere. So if you can move it safe and clean, you become the pick.
Now
let's get it from Canada. It's clean.
Let's talk then about the Trump backpedaling on Elon Musk in electric vehicles.
What did he do? Oh yeah. Well, that's why I think Musk was so mad, because Musk gives him almost $300 million. I believe Trump probably said to him, well, there was an agreement. He understood there was going to be concessions for electric vehicles. And then Trump just said, I don't think I really said that. And that's what got Musk all ticked off, because he wasn't going to make the money or have those concessions. And then he shot his mouth off. Again, you want these two guys in charge of the world it's just incredibly dangerous.
Now, you mentioned off mic that you heard about Colombia even moving products not to American ports. So we want to gauge what Trump is saying and how the world is responding. Look at the port activities. Yeah. So I look on Vancouver, I look on the St. John's, Newfoundland, or I look on New Brunswick, their ports, and are these seeing upticks in?
I don't know, but I heard that it was like Colombia or Brazil or places like that were just bypassing the United States and bringing it up into Vancouver
to avoid the tariffs.
So
if you land it in Canada and you start your assembly or your production in Canada, we
have a great opportunity, and I personally think Mark Carney is smart enough financially to be able to head this. That's my opinion. I may be proven wrong. This could be the golden age for Canada that the United States thought they were going to get. By absolutely isolating themselves from the world, Canada's taken the opposite approach and making themselves available to the world and showing our diversity and everything else. That's the way you want to go. And it's never worked, this enclosure, this retreating into oneself.
Isolationism.
Well, there's no cars ever built. Even the Trump phone. Parts are coming from somewhere else.
Yes, the Trump phone's made in China.
Yeah. And Trump on the jet says he doesn't trust phones. Ha ha. So there you go, in his Air Force One. So that's why he was flying back to Washington, because he didn't trust phones. And by the way, buy my phone.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, so Apple has the iPhone. He's got the MyPhone. Very cool. Very cool.
But it's not, it's
So here we have
if
Trump.
it is made in if it is made in America, like he's insisting it is, that's why it's $300 more than its competition.
I heard you could buy the phone without the gilded edging on it from Amazon, the same phone.
Yeah, 181 or
Yeah,
something.
like that. So I haven't checked that out to see if it's true or not. But here we have an example of Trump. Dig. Drill, baby, drill. And then we have Carney with green energy projects all moving in towards Canada. The pipeline, which they want to process, not going. What's happening? Carney's making the deals. I think we already had a podcast. I think we have a bright future if we do it quick.
Yeah, jump at the opportunity.
There we go. The burden may be a little lighter to bear. Lighter crew. Bye-bye for now.